The government has come to the defence of embattled Speaker Peter Slipper amid fresh questions over his travel claims. Mr Slipper released a stack of CabCharge dockets last night, which he and the government have been arguing clear him of alleged criminal behaviour. But other questions relating to the nature of the dockets and the detail has been raised.
Peter Slipper had hoped to clear himself of claims he misused cab charges, but more questions have emerged. The government maintains the claims of fraud have been disproved.
The charge here is that Peter Slipper engaged in fraudulent conduct and handed over blank cab charges. That allegation is not correct. And if that allegation is not correct, then it does draw into question some of the other statements that have been made.
The embattled Speaker released these CabCharge dockets to show it was his handwriting that had authorised each of them. The dockets concerned are of the sort held by taxi drivers, not customers, reserved for emergencies when the electronic system is down. And the serial numbers at the bottom of them are in sequential order, even though some of the trips are weeks apart. Which begs the questions, was Mr Slipper the driver's only customer? Or was the electronic system only down when Peter Slipper travelled in the cab?
Some people choose to use fax rather than emails still. What it is the case is that there are specific allegations have been raised. They've been responded to.
On these dockets released by Peter Slipper, no times are detailed. Locations are kept very general, suburb to suburb, rather than the actual locations. But the government says it does not show fraud. The Leader of the House is fanning suspicion of coalition involvement in the case against the Speaker.
Tony Abbott has been very careful in his language, where he said he didn't have specific knowledge of any allegations. What I want to know is, what did coalition members know? Did they tell Tony Abbott about any detail?
The Speaker crisis has fostered more questions in the Labor caucus about the Prime Minister's judgment and appears to be undermining her leadership once again.
There's certainly some movement at the station. I think, however, the Prime Minister is pretty much aware of this. From my understanding, I think she knows well and truly she's only got a month or so to get her act together.
Mr Richardson and others have a right to their opinion, but I don't think he's got any inside running on what's going on.
We dealt with that issue recently, and that issue is over.
Kieran Gilbert, Sky News, Canberra.
Well, joining us now from Canberra, Sky News political editor David Speers. And David, I understand you put some questions to Peter Slipper this morning in relation to these issues, and he has now responded.
Yes, that's right. Just in the last half hour or so, we've received from Peter Slipper answers to a number of questions we put this morning. First of all, we asked why were these they're called emergency manual dockets used so often? They are, according to the taxi industry, only used in the rare event of the electronic cab charge system in the cars being down. Well, Peter Slipper's response, this is correct in respect to cab companies, but he says many limo drivers taking cab charge, particularly smaller operators, only use the manual dockets because they do not have electronic facilities. So he's suggesting there that he was using a limo driver, and particularly a smaller operator, even though these dockets do list as the merchant Legion cabs. Secondly, we asked why do so many of the dockets have sequential serial numbers appearing to be from the same driver's book when the trips were apparently weeks apart. His response: with a CabCharge voucher book, the vouchers must be taken out of the book, run through the machine using the passenger's card and then completed by the passenger, signed and handed over. What is relevant, he says, is the journey and when it took place, not the serial number of the docket, which is irrelevant, he says. Finally, we asked on a particular date, the 11th of February, why does a particular CabCharge docket that he released last night show him to be at the airport, followed by a trip listed as from the suburbs to the suburbs? He says, please refer to reply to previous question. So he's saying what is relevant is the journey and when it took place, not the fact that the serial numbers on the dockets that he's released are in sequential order, indicating, as we've been reporting throughout the day, that the driver that he's used here has not used the card manual system for any other passenger in between Peter Slipper using that card and that system some weeks apart on occasion. So Peter Slipper's answers there to the questions that we put earlier. He, as we've reported, has made clear that these dockets do clear him of the criminal allegations that have been made against him, and that's what the government is arguing as well.
All right, we'll wait and see. David, thank you.